Ever since The Big Bang Theory aired its final episode in 2019, the universe it built hasn't quite left our screens, or our minds. With its prequel, Young Sheldon, and the upcoming spin-off series in development, the franchise continues to live on. But as we move deeper into this expanding nerdverse, there's one character who, while central to its legacy, might be holding the universe back more than pushing it forward. Yes, I'm talking about Sheldon Cooper. It feels almost blasphemous to say it. After all, Sheldon is arguably the most iconic character of The Big Bang Theory. He's the reason millions tuned in every week. Jim Parsons' portrayal earned awards and massive paychecks. And the very existence of Young Sheldon is rooted in fans' desire to understand how this brilliant, socially awkward physicist came to be. But here's the thing. The more the Big Bang universe clings to Sheldon, the less room it gives for other stories to breathe, evolve, and shine. Let's be clear. This isn't a takedown of the character. Sheldon is a once-in-a-generation television creation. An eccentric genius whose quirks are both maddening and lovable. He transformed what could have been a flat sitcom into a dynamic, character-driven comedy with surprising emotional depth. Watching him navigate friendship, romance, and growing pains was both hilarious and, at times, oddly inspiring. But we've been following Sheldon Cooper's story for over a decade. The Big Bang Theory gave us 12 full seasons of Sheldon-centric plotlines. Then came Young Sheldon, which dug even deeper into his formative years. We've seen him as a child genius navigating high school, as a university student, as a son struggling with empathy, and as a future scientist looking back at his life with a reflective voiceover. At this point, we know more about Sheldon than we do about most real people in our lives. And therein lies the problem. By continuing to orbit around Sheldon, the Big Bang universe risks becoming a narrative black hole, where every new story gets sucked back into the gravity of one character. This isn't just creatively limiting, it's dramatically unsustainable. We've explored Sheldon's family, his challenges, his triumphs, and even his quirks down to their origins. There's very little left to uncover that hasn't already been dissected or theorized by the fandom or shown on screen. Meanwhile, other characters, many of whom are equally complex and underexplored, are left on the sidelines. Think about it. Penny's arc, while beautifully wrapped, still left questions about her career ambitions and identity beyond Leonard. Raj's story never got the satisfying resolution fans hoped for. Howard's transformation from creep to caring husband and father was fascinating but rarely the center of focus. And even Leonard, arguably the show's emotional anchor, became more of a reactive character to Sheldon's chaos than a fully fleshed-out protagonist in his own right. By focusing so much on Sheldon, the universe has unintentionally stifled opportunities to grow beyond him. And yet, this obsession continues. In Young Sheldon, even as it introduces new characters, like his family members George, Mary, and Missy, they're often framed in relation to Sheldon's development. The prequel gives these characters dimension, but it still can't quite escape the shadow of the future Sheldon looms over the narrative with every smug voiceover from Jim Parsons. Even moments that should belong to George Sr.'s struggles or Missy's adolescence often circle back to how this shaped Sheldon. There's also the practical concern. Characters need to evolve. But Sheldon, by his very nature, resists evolution. His character arc is slow, meticulous, and sometimes stagnant. While Young Sheldon attempts to humanize him, the constraints of continuity mean we already know where he ends up. There's little narrative suspense in watching someone we already know will become a tenured professor with a Nobel Prize. Dramatic tension, surprise, or emotional stakes become hard to manufacture when the destination is fixed and overexposed. Perhaps it's time for the universe to gamble on something new. What if a spin-off focused on Missy, Sheldon's twin sister, whose quick wit and emotional intelligence offer a counterpoint to Sheldon's cold logic? What about a series following Raj navigating life back in India, redefining his identity beyond his romantic failure trope? What about delving into Penny and Leonard's journey as unexpected parents in a tech-driven world, or Howard and Bernadette tackling the chaos of parenthood with biting sarcasm and scientific flair? The Big Bang universe is rich with potential, filled with characters who've barely scratched the surface of their narrative possibilities. But so long as Sheldon remains the gravitational center, everything else stays locked in orbit, unable to chart its own course. And let's not ignore audience fatigue. While Young Sheldon has enjoyed success, even its most devoted fans recognize the growing predictability. The emotional resonance of George Sr.'s fate, or Mima's rebellious streak, is dulled when every plot is forced to reinforce how it impacted Sheldon. The universe becomes a shrine rather than a sandbox. It's also a matter of cultural relevance. As storytelling evolves, audiences crave complexity, diversity, and fresh perspectives. Sheldon's character, brilliant though he is, was built in a time when eccentric genius archetypes were celebrated uncritically. In today's landscape, the demand is for stories that break molds, not constantly revisit them. Moving on from Sheldon doesn't mean erasing him, it means letting him rest. Celebrate what he brought. Honor his impact, but allow new characters to step into the spotlight. The universe is vast. It can be funny, heartfelt, awkward, smart, and everything in between, without always asking, what would Sheldon do? The Big Bang Theory universe has proven it can evolve. Now it's time for it to do the hardest thing of all. Let go of its most comfortable constant. Because ironically, the best way to honor Sheldon Cooper's legacy is to stop making everything about Sheldon Cooper. Word count 1025. Let me know if you'd like a version formatted for publication, with a title image or subtitle.